Well, Obed proves to be the real McCoy as the West Indies win the first T20 against the Aussies. Hello, everyone. Welcome again to On Tour. As we look back at the West Indies and Australia series, it's the first T20 being played in St. Lucia at the Darren Sammy Stadium. And what a fantastic match it was. Let's go straight to the scorecard and tell the story. The West Indies making 145 for 6, led by Andre Russell, making his first 50 in T20 internationals. Can you believe that? 51 from 28 balls, 5 huge sixes and 3 fours. He has support from Hetmar, who made 20 earlier, and Lendl Simmons, who made 27. The other batsmen really didn't come to the party. The captain on the night, Nicholas Pooran, standing in for his countryman, Kieron Pollard, who has an injury. He made only 17. The wickets there for the Aussies. Excellent bowling performance from Josh Hazlewood, the big fast bowler, 3 for 12, and Mitchell Marsh, 2 for 26. The Aussies were cruising. A very similar innings there from Mitchell Marsh to Russell. Marsh making 51 as well from 31 deliveries, 2 sixes, 5 fours. Matthew Wade, he was the lash at the top with 33. But the beautiful bowling of Obed McCoy. What more can you say about this young Vincentian? 4 for 26, backed up very well with excellent catching and fielding, and also by Hayden Walsh, 3 for 23, coming into the match and showing his worth. The West Indies winning by 18 runs. I would say Russell, McCoy, and Walsh making a big difference in this match. We've got a panel tonight that, of course, we've got Tino Best, or my co-host almost, but we also have Tony Gray, the former Trinidad and Tobago and West Indies big pacer out there, of course, in Port of Spain. Tony and Tino, the two T's, welcome again to the program. I'll start first of all with our usual guest, Tony Gray. Tony, when you look at this match and how well the Windies played, what do you think made the difference for them tonight?
Well, I think that inspirational leadership. Pooran was excellent. He was tactically sound. He was, captaining the side under pressure. Just 145 the West Indies team mustered, and that's not good enough against any Australian side in T20 cricket. They fell perhaps about 20 runs short. But I think that Pooran went out there with a plan, a specific plan, and he got his troops motivated. And Obed McCoy, obviously, absolutely brilliant. And he's continued his good showing from the South Africa series, where all 5 games he bowled very well. And he's continued against Australia in this first T20 game. Brilliant bowling from him. Hayden Walsh Jr. has not been a part of the West Indies setup for a while. And as a wrist spinner coming and taking wickets, he also had a part to play. But Andre Russell before that, with his 50 and 28 balls, brilliant.
Tino, if you had to sum up the difference between this victory and why the West Indies were losing or why they lost in the end to the South Africans, what would it be?
I think that, West Indies, when it comes to West Indies cricket, any rich team turn up on that day. But I thought that the inspiration from Pooran and the way that he backed his bowlers, because they had no choice. He had to back his bowlers. I was really impressed that Hayden Walsh got the opportunity to play today. And I always felt that once he got it right against the Australians, he was going to cause some havoc, and he did. He bowled beautifully. Obed McCoy continued to show his class. As people on Twitter said, make your money, boy. And that was brilliant to see that young man really running in, backing himself against the Australians. Look, at the end of the day, this is a weak Australian side, and I expect the West Indies to be dominant. I thought that their batting lacked mindset yet again. I thought that Lendl Simmons at the top of the order was still not getting singles. At one stage, he had something like 13 dot balls, Barry. It's about getting those singles. It's not about bullying the bowling and muscling the bowling. I think that once we rotate the strike, we can be a very good team at the back end of the innings. But we have to eradicate those dot balls. Guys are going to bowl good balls, but you have to get these singles. But all in all, I thought that the West Indies showed a lot of character today, defending a small total.
Tony, I'm not so sure I agree with Tino that it's a weak Australian side. I would say that the batting is perhaps not strong as the bowling, but they've got some very good bowlers. Hazlewood, Stark, Marsh, they are good bowlers that would perhaps trap anyone. Let's wheel and come again into the meat of the match, Tony, because we had a situation where the West Indies were under pressure. Don't fool yourself. They were struggling. But that innings from Russell is what made the difference. Talk to me about Andrew Russell getting his first ever 50 in T20s. Isn't that amazing?
Yeah, it's amazing, but we know of his talent. Obviously, he's deemed to be a power hitter, but what he showed here this evening was that he was willing to stay at the wicket for a while. He was willing to assess things out there, see what the pitch was about and what the bowlers were doing, and then he exploded into a frenzy of a wonderful stroke play. We know that he can do that. And technically, in my opinion, he was watching the ball closely. And when he does that, he can connect. And when he connects, the ball sails all over the place. But my point is that Andrew Russell played an intelligent hand today. So it's not about power hitting. It's about stroke making. And the fact that he got 51 in 28 deliveries was the key to West Indies getting something to work with. 145, not a lot of runs, but still something to work with, and it's proven to be a winning score.
Tino, when you look at Andrew Russell's scores in T20 cricket, his top 5 scores are all not outs, which suggests to me, is he batting too low in this order? Should he be promoted a little bit more? Because he's coming not out all the time when he had those big scores, except today his 51. But his other 4 scores, 43, 35, 41, they're all not outs. So what do you think about where he bats in this team?
I think he's batting in a good position, Barry. At the end of the day, look, Andrew Russell is a power hitter, unless it's a funny situation that West Indies need to get quick runs or whatever, he moves up the order. But he's in a good position. And look, the West Indies team is at full strength. And once it's at full strength, I absolutely love the fact that he's batting at 7 or 8 and getting 4 or 5 overs to finish off. I don't think that he should be batting any higher, Barry. I think where he's batting right now is perfect.
Well, what's wrong with Chris Gayle, Tony Gray? I know you're sweet on Gayle, but the man looks a shadow of himself, and the more he plays, he's tainted his legacy. What's wrong with Chris Gayle, and why is he perhaps in the team if many think that he should hang up his boots or at least be dropped? Tempers, not scoring runs. Talk to me, Tony.
Well, he's 41 years old, and that's, getting on a bit, and it's not easy at that age. He's never been mobile at the crease. He's never been mobile on the field of play. The thing with him, he's depended in the past with hand-eye coordinated batsmen and not mobile, not really technically sound batsman. So he is struggling now because obviously his reflexes have diminished. If you look at him against Sri Lanka on a small ground, at Coolidge ground, where he's supposed to be dominant against spin or pace, he was not himself at all. And after those 4 games he played, out of 5 games against South Africa, his confidence level is shattered at the moment. You look at him in today's game, he's going at a delivery that was short of a length, had some pace. He's trying to pull the ball. He wasn't assessing things out there. So he's short in confidence, and obviously we've seen the technical problems that he didn't have in the past come to be magnified now against some top-notch bowlers.
All right, you're watching On Tour. The West Indies, like I said, 145 for 6. When we come back, we'll analyse how the Australians batted and how the Windies bowled them to victory.
It's time to jump up, people, are you ready? Windies in the land, just put up your hands. It's time to jump up, people, are you ready? Windies in the land, just put up.
So welcome back to On Tour. The world always seems to be a better place when the West Indies win matches. There seems to be a lot of peace, especially on the internet, Facebook, Twitter, and what else there is. But, you look at the game and you analyse it, you would have to say, Tino Best and Tony Gray, that the Australians were batting quite well, especially the start they had with Matthew Wade. But let's come down and look at Mitchell Marsh and his innings. I want to compare it, Tino. I want to compare his 51 with Russell's 51 and the impact that his 51 had on that side and why they didn't win. How would you look and assess that 51 made by Mitchell Marsh, Tino Best, I beg your pardon.
the two T's are on, so we forgive me, Barry.
The 2 T's have got me, sorry.
Yeah, listen, honestly, look, I thought his innings was fantastic, Barry. It was well calculated as well, and his shot selection was perfect. He just got out at the wrong time. I think that if he backs out Hayden Walsh and he don't get out there, I think Australia win the game easily. But it's the thing about situation awareness. Puran backing Hayden Walsh against him and getting him out as well. I think that was when the momentum shifted. And that is why Australia lost 7 wickets for 38. An incredible collapse. And one that had me, I'm still lost for words. I haven't tweeted, Barry. This is brilliant.
Yeah, well, I think Twitter have lost some points there for that. Now, I also want to remind the viewers, it's on the screen. This is how you can reach us. You can send me a voice note. You can send me a WhatsApp message. And you can even, of course, send me a little video, not more than 30, 35 seconds, telling us how you felt about the game and in terms of the match and how it finished, what made the difference in your opinion? Was it McCoy? Was it Hayden Walsh? I want to hear from you, and we'll love to have you on our program tomorrow. Of course, we're on almost every day. There are 3 matches very close today, Saturday, and indeed on Monday. Now, let's get back into the bowling with Tony Gray. Tony Gray, expert bowler for Trinidad and Tobago. Not so much West Indies, but hey, look, we won't kill you. Tony, talk to me about the bowling of Obed McCoy. Break him down, and what has made this young Vincentian 24-year-old so good so fast? Because he's just seemed like he's all of a sudden woke up and all of a sudden is now the latest star of West Indies cricket.
Well, I think that one of the things with him, you have to start with his attitude towards the game. I have had the good fortune of working with him with the West Indies under-19 team back in 2017. And he's always tried to sponge knowledge from the senior players, and you have a lot of senior players around for him to work with. The other thing with him is that he's really fit, and he's an intelligent bowler, and he's not afraid of big name or iconic batsmen. And that's a quality that you need to have in the T20 format, because remember, it's a consistent pressure. But the other thing is that his skills have developed nicely. Obviously, he doesn't bowl offline too much. He's always at the wicket, always outside the off stump. One of the things with him is that he is very good at mixing up his deliveries without any discernible change in his action. And obviously, he is bowling at the wicket most of the time. So that's why he's been able to not only be frugal, but to get wickets at opportune times to the West Indies team. What a brilliant performer he has been. I mean, over a 6-game period, he has not faltered at all, and he's gotten wickets, and he's been frugal and really consistent. Excellent.
Tino, how was Akil Hussain playing before Hayden Walsh in this team? Really, what was happening? Because it seems to be chalk and cheese in terms of their development. Your thoughts on that?
Look, to be honest, Barry, Akil Hussain is a talent. No, don't be fooled whatsoever.
I do agree with that.
I played with him. I played against him, and he's a good cricketer. He's a cricketer. I Hayden Walsh is a cricketer as well. And look, don't forget that Hayden Walsh lose form, and he did not perform well in the Super 50. So you got to understand the precarious situation that the selectors found themselves in. So really and truly, he has his opportunity now, and he's playing, and he's performed, and he has to continue to be consistent and back himself as well. He's an excellent fielder. He's a good little Lorada batsman as well, and he can turn the ball. He has a lot of good variations, and it's all about that confidence. Look, I thought that Hayden Walsh confidence was dented last year CPL when Barbados played Trinidad in the Oval, and I felt from there his bowling went off a bit. But seeing him today, I think he's found back his mojo, and he looks good. So really and truly, you do have to understand where the selectors were looking at in terms of players in form, and giving Akil Hussain that opportunity before Hayden Walsh. But as it is now, you got to continue to back Hayden Walsh and hope that this young man can go from strength to strength and bowl those middle orders, middle overs, beg your pardon, and do well.
I have to tackle you, Tina, about the pace of Fida Edwards. Was he effective? Is he fulfilling the role that was expected of him back into this team?
Look, in Grenada, I thought his pace was down. I watched him closely today. He got up to 143. But I didn't any data like his pace is going to go up 1 or 2 balls. He doesn't have that fire like before. What we would like to see him doing is just them backing Fidel to bowl in the middle, one over in the power play, two in the middle, and maybe one at the end. Maybe both at 19th over just before Bravo bowl the last, or between Obed, because you can't have Fidel in the team at 39 years old and not bowling his full allotment of overs. It's a waste of time. It doesn't make sense. That is my opinion from before. But I thought he looked fresh today. In St. Lucia, that's very conducive for fast bowling. You can get more pace on the wickets, you can get more bumps and carry. I thought at the end of the day, he wasn't really sharp in with his thinking at Wade. I think he played against Wade a few times, and I thought that he would have bowled a lot better. When I saw him got hit for that 6 today, I was like, damn, I wish I was at the other end to help my boy Fidel ruffle Wade. But look, at the end of the day, I thought that he was a little better today. And as he gets a little bit more game time, I think he will get better. But any day, he's an old boy, and it's soon time for him to come and join me on television and talk the game.
Tony, I want to ask you about the possibility of Kieran Pollard coming back into the team. Who will be dropped? Because you can't drop Walsh, can't drop Fabian Allen. You're going to have to perhaps drop a batsman if you have to sit, if Pollard is to come back in. You think it will be Gale to sit out if Pollard comes back on Saturday or Monday?
Yeah, definitely. So I think that Chris Gale doesn't look like himself at all. He's not had that sort of destructive mentality. He doesn't have the confidence at the moment. He's not made a 50 in the last 8 games, and that's saying that his skills are decreasing, and perhaps he's not seeing the ball properly. And I think Kieran Pollard will take his place. But you also have to look at Andre Fletcher. When you look at conventional batting and proper stroke making, I thought that the games that he played against South Africa, the 2 games that he played against South Africa, he showed the propensity to adjust to the situation of the game. And to me, he can be flexible. So Pollard should come in for Chris Gale, but the selectors must be mindful of the recent form and the abilities of Andre Fletcher.
So the question for our viewers then, should Chris Gale be dropped from the West Indies team? Send me your thoughts on that. The WhatsApp is there. Send me a message and send me, of course, perhaps even a little video. I would love to hear from you and your thoughts on Chris Gale continuing to play for the West Indies. You're watching On Tour. When we come back, we're going to hear from the 2 captains, and we also stretch it a little bit to perhaps we hear from the man of the match. Stay with us.
Time to jump up, people, are you ready? Windies in the land, just put up your hands. It's time to jump up, people, are you ready? Windies in the land, just...
Welcome back then to On Tour. Let's talk now with Obed McCoy, of course, the man of the match, and we also hear from the 2 captains.
Obed, congratulations. How does this feel coming off of the South African series?
Thank you. Feels great. I've been working really hard, and it's just all about execution and sticking to the team plan.
When you say execution, be a little bit more specific for me in bowling on that surface, defending that score.
Normally, I know that surface, the ball has nice bounce and carry, but I was just trying to stop my pace as much as I can so the ball could hold up in the wicket. I noticed earlier in the innings when the spinners were bowling, they were getting a bit of turn, but not much. So I was saying that my slow balls were grip enough.
The belief of the team, Obed, as you came out to defend that total, what was it like? We were confident. We know we have the bowling to back it, and we have the feeling and the experience of Bravo, Chris Gale, Andrew Russell, Curran. So we just knew that we had to go out there and fight hard.
First of all, commiserations on the result, but after the first half, you thought that you would have been in control.
Yeah, I thought our bowlers did a fantastic job, particularly in that power play. The length we bowled to restrict them. And then anytime you lose 6 for 19, you're going to struggle to win a T20 game. So we just needed somebody to take it upon themselves and get right through to the end. I think we needed under 4 and over for a majority of that last bit. So, yeah, very disappointing.
A 50 from Mitch Marsh, and he really led the way with the bat and showed how good of a pitch it was. The batting overall disappointing.
Yeah, it was. After the position that he and Matty Wade got us into, I thought that just a bit of game smarts would have just got us over the line there, but sort of panicked a little bit. we've been working on trying to be a little bit more aggressive through them middle overs, but maybe we just need to rein it in today and have some more smarts.
We didn't get as much as we wanted, 145, but all we asked was for a challenge in total. You know, we asked the guys for energy, and that's what they brought.
Your first game, you 100% win record, so you'll tell Karen Pollard that a little bit later. But what sort of score were you looking for batting first?
We wasn't looking for a particular score, to be honest. We just wanted to set up the game, you know, after the first 2 overs, you know, assess, and then we can move. But we started to lose wickets often, and you know, it's tough to keep going at a proper momentum. But it's just for us to, you know, rebuild that innings and try to go as deep as possible. You know, well played to Hetty as well, and then Russell coming and finish off. Well done to him.
Fantastic stuff. Congratulations to the Windies. Commiserations, of course, to the Aussies. But hey, look, don't be fooled. West Indies did the same thing against South Africa. They won the first, and then they still lost the series 3-2. So a long way to go. As I wrap up with the 2 Ts, TB, Tino Best, first of all, what must the Australians do to come back, and what can the West Indies do to sustain and work on this victory? You first, Tino Best.
Look, honestly, I had the opportunity to talk to some Australian, kind of live with Australian, Tim Payne, many moons ago. And Tim Payne said when they lose games, they don't discuss it. They just say, look, guys, we are brilliant players, just a bad day. Let's hit the ground running next game and do well. They back themselves, and that is. It's funny.
It's funny you say that, because that's what just what was said at the closing ceremony there with the Australian captain. So you're on the ball. You're right.
Yeah, I mean, Tim Payne said to me all those years ago, you know, they back themselves. And look, for Australia, they're going to come hard at the West Indies once again. For the West Indies, I think the key is getting running singles. We have the power hitters. Look, honestly, if I was said, I would not pick Lyndon Simmons. I would make sure that Fletcher is starting batting. If we're not going to drop Pooran, and Pooran is one of our future leaders, which I don't have a problem with, Lyndon Simmons cannot open the batting. You have to give Fletcher that opportunity. Sit down Gale, obviously, if Pollard is fit, the skipper comes back and retain his play. But if you're talking about the opening partnership, I honestly believe that Fletcher, Lewis have a better combination at the top for West Indies in 2020. They run singles better. They look sharper at the top of the innings as well. And if one of them gets or one of them can really play an anchor role, I think that they complement each other much better than Lyndon Simmons and the Evan Lewis. If you watch Lyndon Simmons batting today, it was atrocious, Barry. It looked bad. It was just like hit or miss. If I don't score a boundary, it's a dot ball. You can't have that at the top of the innings in international cricket. It looks bad at the top of the order for West Indies cricket. So I would love to see Fletcher get back that opportunity. There's 3 games now that he's sitting on the bench. You got to back Fletcher. I think he's a much better batsman in terms of rotating his strike and playing shots as well. I back Fletcher and the Evan Lewis combination at the top of the order, and I think that is the combination West Indies should go in with.
Wow, that's a big one, TG. How do you end off the program with that? Tell me, rebut that.
Well, yeah, I tend to agree with that. I mean, we saw the chemistry being formed against South Africa. The first game, there was a huge partnership in T20 terms of 85 runs, between the 2 of them. And Fletcher was not docile at all. In fact, he had 30 runs in 19 balls. So he was positively intelligent about how he went about things. The second game that he played, again, I mentioned that he was situational in that he batted long into the innings when wickets were tumbling around him. So I think that what we want is a batsman who could rotate strike and can be sustained when it comes to his concentration and his skills out there and bat long into the innings. And Fletcher, to me, can do that. But when you look at the Australians are going to come tactically sound. As we saw from the South Africans, they changed their tactical ploys. The Australians will want to get good partnerships and not play too many loose shots and don't lose too many wickets in the power play. I think that will be their game plan. But their bowlers have done the job this evening, and they would want to continue in that vein.
All right, fantastic stuff there from the 2 Ts. We'll see you again tomorrow. Another T. Will the West Indies win or will it be Australia? Join us for On Tour. We'll have all the analysis, the highlights, and opportunity for you, the fans, to also vent and get your say. I'm Barry Wilkinson. Bye-bye for now.
West Indies. We are the West Indies. That's right. We are the West Indies. Turn it up to the top. It's time to jump up. People, are you ready?